More to Escalante. Escalante told us that there's extra pressure fighting in front of these fans. Keep in mind, Cornelius Locke, last time he was on Friday Night Fights, last fight of his career, it should be noted that the judges didn't play a factor, that he never led on any of the scorecards against Speedy Gonzalez, and he won that fight by 10th round KO. Round number 7 of an important fight in both careers here. Both men need this. Escalante has a lot of momentum right now. Cornelius Locke, 33 years old, already 3 losses by knockout. This would be a big notch in the belt.
Now Locke has a couple of things going against him. Got a couple knockdowns that he's suffered in this fight. He's got a whole bunch of rounds that I think Escalante has practiced drumming on his body, and where Escalante has himself ahead. And Locke also does not have his trainer in the corner for this very, very difficult fight. Roger Mayweather not with him. Former world champion Bose Edwards, also a southpaw, so he knows how to talk to a lefty. He is in the corner with Cornelius Locke. You always want your trainer with you. I think even more so when all of a sudden a fight becomes an urgent matter. And this has become an urgent matter for Locke.
There was a left hook that caught Locke again, and then he pushes him down, does Escalante.
Again, it's not so much the will of Escalante, it's the physicalness of Escalante that I see is starting to be imposed on Locke. Right there, you can see Escalante chasing a little bit, not cutting the ring down. So he's allowing Locke to survive, escape a little bit. Looks like Locke is physically being broken down, Joe, because before, even the last round, he would let his hands go a little bit when Escalante started to close the gap. And that's not happening anymore as Escalante slips a little bit right there.
Quick to get up, though.
And there Locke does a little countering, a little punching at the distance that he needs to do more punching before Escalante gets close.
That was a good combination by Locke, going to the body and then coming back upstairs. Escalante continues to just walk right towards him. Coming to the end of round number 7. 3 to go. Good atmosphere in El Paso. More to come. Words to Cornelius Locke, his charge, as you were pointing out, maybe starting to break down a little bit. Don't give up on yourself. You work so hard. Those are the kind of statements that fall in line with what you're seeing there, Teddy. And in that last round, Locke only landed 5 punches, only threw 31. Both lows for the fight. Let's look at some of the punch track numbers and the average punches landed and thrown over the course of the last 4 rounds. There's landed 21-10 advantage for Escalante. 8th round, Joe and Teddy ringside in El Paso, where they are rooting on Antonio Escalante. He scored 2 knockdowns in round number 3, and he has been on a mission throughout against the well-skilled Cornelius Locke.
Those words you heard about, don't give up on yourself. As you said, Joe, coming from a former world champion, Cornelius Bose Edwards, he knows what goes on in the mind and heart and the soul of a fighter in that squared circle. He knows what he's seeing, and he reacted to it. He sees a guy, as we thought we saw, who's starting to evaporate a little bit. And it's not the sun that's beating down on Locke. Because the sun will evaporate a puddle real fast on a hot day. But it's just the presence, it's the physical pressure, it's the body attack, it's the relentlessness of Escalante that is evaporating Locke. And even having said that, Escalante has let up just a little bit the last couple rounds. But one thing I noticed that he's got a good instinct for is he finishes rounds hard and well. where if it was close for a moment, he's going to convince the judges, Escalante is, in the last 30 seconds, that you must give me this round. He's going to give the impression that he even dominated the round by closing the show strong. But again, he's given a little break to lock the last few rounds, Joe. You know, hasn't kept that same kind of relentless pressure he did in the first 6 rounds, the first 5 rounds. But even though there's a little let up by Escalante, and you can see it. You know, he's thinking a little bit more. He figures, why should I? I'm well ahead now. I don't want to run into anything. But while he's letting up the pressure a little bit, you can see Locke still not letting his hands go. He's not taking advantage of it. I don't know that he has enough left.
Let's check in with Brian Kenny. He's really worked his way into better shape. Came up with the win against Alexander Dimitrenko, and now potentially has a showdown with the #1 heavyweight in the world. Round number 9.
And again, Joe, a little bit of the foot coming off the gas pedal for Escalante. Well ahead in the fight. You could even say, why take risks? You're ahead. But you could also say, when that foot came off the gas pedal, an opportunity for Locke to put his own foot on the gas pedal. Being left alone a little bit, maybe to start to catch up in this fight a little bit. But for the most part, Locke hasn't reacted that way when he's been left alone. Maybe too much damage done. Too much mental damage, too much physical damage. Joe, I want to take a chance, take a moment right now to say something. You know, we watch these fights week in and week out, and these guys are noble warriors. And as tough as it is to do what they do in that ring, there are people in this world that sometimes have even tougher fights. And there goes the pressure once again from Escalante. And now he's starting to put that foot back on that gas pedal and forcing Locke really now to adapt the position of just surviving. Just using his leg, pedaling around a little bit, trying to deflect punches, and maybe every once in a while sneak something in. But what I was starting to say is that as tough as what we watch week in and week out, every once in a while there's somebody out there that's got a tougher fight than even these guys, and a fight that's not as fair. And one of them is a young 24-year-old who's a fan of ours. He's watching the fight now, John Benedetto. He was involved in a swimming accident only a couple weeks ago. He was paralyzed. John, just like a fight, there's a lot of rounds. Sometimes the rounds are tough to get through. But John, get through those rounds. We're all thinking about you.
Keep fighting, John. Last 40 seconds here of round 9. That left hand straight a bit low. Both men open up with right hands. Escalante says, let's do more of that.
And again, right now, I just don't think physically Locke has anything left in him.
Thudding right hands from Escalante. Sweeping right hand didn't do a thing from Locke, and Escalante keeps coming. Big right hand comes across from Escalante.
You know, you got to really admire the gameness, the grittiness of Locke, but you also got to think about the corner. Maybe stop